How's it going, you guys? So in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about exercising for mental health and well-being, and just feeling happy, feeling healthy, and also for relieving symptoms of anxiety and depression. So it is a fact, it's a scientific fact, and it is an idea promoted by personal training certification programs like the National Academy of Sports Medicine, that exercise, if done properly, if done systematically and properly, if properly prescribed, can actually drastically improve symptoms of depression and anxiety. In fact, the general consensus is that exercise can be as effective or even more effective than prescription medication. That's a fact. And, a lot of people who suffer from depression and anxiety, they might fight this idea simply because when you have depression and anxiety, typically you don't want to go out of your house, you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to be around other people. And so as a defense mechanism, as a coping mechanism to prevent you from having to go through that uncomfortable stress that you don't want to go through, being around other people, changing your habits and things like that, your self-image, your essentially your ego, puts up that barrier for you, that justification of, oh, exercise doesn't help anxiety, you wouldn't know because you don't have depression, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I actually did have extreme anxiety, panic attacks, panic disorder, and general anxiety disorder is what I was diagnosed with from 2012 up until about 2015. Solved it with nutrition and exercise and herbal supplements. And currently I don't take any herbs or anything like that. Anyway, so listen, first of all, if you just go to the gym and you just get on the treadmill a little bit and stretch a little bit, maybe do a little bit of machines, and you think for 1 second that, I tried exercise and it didn't help. Look, that's because you didn't follow a systematic, properly prescribed exercise program specifically for the treatment of anxiety and depression. Just like with cognitive behavioral therapy and talk therapy and medication, those need to be properly prescribed and done by a professional. The same thing goes for exercise, and you must do it in proper doses, and the proper methods must be prescribed. So look, powerlifting and stuff like that is not going to have a significant impact on anxiety or depression, although it can help. And you need to be doing cardiovascular exercise. You need to be doing it at a specific intensity for a specific duration with a specific frequency. For me personally, what I believe is useful and what I found is useful and what the evidence says is anywhere from 3 to 6 days per week doing moderate cardiovascular exercise. That means on a scale from 1 to 10 of a rated perceived of exertion, about an 8 to an 8.5 of intensity. So that means, you can get on the treadmill, and depending on your fitness level, you just start jogging, you start running, and it should feel like it's challenging, like, oh my God, I'm huffing and puffing, and the blood is pumping, and you're feeling tense, like tension, you're feeling, ooh, like that's hard. But it's not so hard that your heart is beating out of control and you feel like you're dying. Basically, it's moderate, it's vigorous, but it's not so intense that your heart's beating out of your chest. Like an 8 out of a 10. And you can do intervals, you can do jogging and then walking, jogging then walking. High intensity interval training is great. Actually, I feel like that's probably the most effective cardiovascular training program, or even weight training program, for not only for depression and anxiety, but for improving your overall level of cardiovascular fitness, for preventing markers of cardiovascular disease, improving markers of cardiovascular disease, for improving insulin resistance. I believe high intensity interval training is Number one, it's the most scientifically validated, and it's something that works for me, it's worked for my clients, and you'll find thousands of people who feel the same way. You can get an amazing full body workout, feel great, release those endorphins and everything with high intensity interval training. And so, that's something to look into. Jogging vigorously for about 3 minutes on, and then taking maybe a 1 to 3 minute break, and then repeating the cycle over and over again until you hit 30 minutes. You just do jogging for 30 minutes. Even just taking a walk out in nature is great. Being around nature, water, green plants actually has been shown, lots of evidence towards boosting your well-being, but you really want to get the blood pumping. You want to get sweating, okay? Another thing you can do is sit in the sauna for 30 minutes. Just the act of sweating and the heat actually not only does it have a hormetic effect that makes your body more resilient to overall stress in general, but it also boosts endorphins. Hot, cold hydrotherapy, cold showers, those things are great, but as far as exercise is concerned, moderate 8 out of 10 cardiovascular exercise for 30 minutes a day, 3 to 5 days a week, or 3 to 6 days a week, is highly recommended, is scientifically validated, is going to make you feel better. The other thing is mixing weight in there. If you're going to do weight training for improving your anxiety and depression, some people feel good doing heavy powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting. I myself do, but things like plyometrics, jumping, circuit training, okay? Because circuit training, so you can actually get a high intensity interval training workout with weights. You do something called peripheral heart activation training, where you basically will pick like 5 or 6 exercises rotating between upper body and lower body, and do it non-stop over and over again for a certain set period of time. Something like CrossFit style workouts, but of course starting slowly if you don't really exercise so much, will really get the endorphins going. Okay, so the main reasons why exercise can actually improve your symptoms of anxiety and depression as good as medication is because in your body will release brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a neuropeptide that not only makes you feel better, but it organizes the filing cabinet in your brain. All the thoughts you have, all the worries you have about life and your finances and things, you feel overwhelmed, right? Well, when you release brain-derived neurotropic factor through exercise, through eating polyphenols and things of this nature, it basically takes all those worrisome thoughts and it puts them into perspective. It sorts out your thoughts in a very tangible way, okay? And so instead of like seeing a tornado of thoughts, now you're seeing streamlined one at a time. Okay, this isn't as bad as I thought. And then the fact that things like serotonin are released from exercise, and that's going to obviously make you feel better. And when you feel better in your body, when you have more positive emotions bring more mental clarity and a positive frame of thought, which is actually what you need in order to solve problems. And when you solve problems, depression and anxiety go away, but specifically more so anxiety. Obviously, for millions of years, human beings as hunter-gatherers have gotten moderate to vigorous exercise on a regular basis in order to obtain food. Obviously, nutrition plays a strong role in how you feel as well. And in order for your brain to produce the neurotransmitters required for happiness, you need exercise and you need proper nutrition. And you need to remove refined foods from your diet, absolutely. Because these things will interfere with the neurochemical balance and the way your brain transmits information throughout the nervous system. So, I'll make more videos on this in the future, but, as a basic rule of thumb, 3 to 6 days a week, moderate exercise for a minimum of 30 minutes a day. The more vigorous the exercise, the better. The more often, the better. Just make sure you get adequate amounts of protein and proper nutrition on the side, and talk therapy also helps.